Vic Fangio must keep the culture alive and challenge Gruden and get in his face for something small. And the culture, I think, is what we were missing in the game against the Chargers. There was like no emotion, no want to, no drive, no nothing. It was just like, let's go out, play football, and then let's just go home. And it seemed like that's what it was. And so I kind of want to lead that into this one with David Slade. Do you think that Shermer should be let go and be replaced? Do not know if another OC helps Lock at all. As far as and when we were talking to Christy about it, and she said the same thing, like the way that the team played is a reflection on the coaches. Like the lack of emotion, the lack of drive on the offense definitely is because Fangio's not involved, but also falls on Shermer. Like he needs to be that emotional, and even if he passes it on to Shula, there has to be a coach that gets the guys fired up. Now, when I said that there was a caveat to how Drew Lock played, it was because there also needs to be players on either side that is that emotional player that gets everybody pumped up. And the quarterback is the leader of the offense, if not the leader of the team. Drew Lock has to be that guy, if Philip Lindsay's not in, to be that guy that has to pump everybody up and get everybody going. They have to find that guy on defense. It's going to be that guy that gets the defense pumped up and ready to play.
And Chubb, Von Miller.
Yeah, and Von Miller's not there. Chubb was out. So it has to be like a Simmons or a Jackson, or Shelby Harris had to do it, especially with, him trying to get home because his son's going to be born. Like, that's an emotional thing. Like, get everybody fired up so you can get going. Like, that was one of the big things that I didn't like with Locke, was that he didn't take that leadership role, that emotional catalyst role to get the team going, because that was just miserable. It was just boring the whole game.
And the thing is, like when you've seen Tom Brady over the years getting in his receivers' faces or in other players on the offense, and whether you dressing down on the sideline is appropriate for one player to do to the next, it shows a fired up leader, a guy who wants to go out there, win, not only win but destroy the opponent. Look at Belichick the other night on the phone. He was pissed off, and he ends up throwing the phone against the cart. Like, they have to have somebody that does that. And a lot of the veteran leadership was on the sideline this year. It was a very unusual year. Aside from COVID, it's one of the most unusual years for Broncos football that I can certainly remember. Again, aside from the pandemic, just the fact that you've had so many players out. It's just it's highly unusual.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of, I blame the coaches for that, but I also blame players, because there's coaches like Belichick is normally not emotional on the sidelines. He's just not. Same thing with Mike McCarthy. Same thing with what's his face? Marvin Lewis was never emotional on the sidelines.
But
and like Andy Reid, they're kind of relaxed, but they have those players on the team that fires up the offense and fires up the defense. So the coach doesn't need to do that. We don't have that coach that can fire up the team. So there has to be players that can fire up the other players on the team.
And I really like Vic. I really do. I'm glad that they're giving him a third year. But I don't remember any scenario where, you've sometimes seen Belichick, he has the entire defense on the sideline, on the bench, and he's, very fired up, not necessarily yelling at them, but giving them some serious instruction. I don't remember seeing Vic actually gathering the defense on there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
He lets Donatel do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.